It's another 80s Ninja cash-in, but this one has 3 screens. Well, 3 screens if you're in the arcade, because that's what Ninja Warriors had. It's a Taito arcade game, came out 87 as usual. You probably saw it a little bit after that. But 3 screens, absolutely huge machine, 2-player mode. And yeah, I mean, how are you going to get all that into the home systems? When we get down to it, it's a fairly standard side-scrolling beat-em-up. But we're going to the home versions and take a look. The sales curve doing the honours across the Amiga, ST, Amstrad, Spectrum and C64. And we're going to start off on the Amiga. Game came out at the end of 1989, reviewed in the December 89, January, February, March 1990 magazines. It's by the sales curve, but it's actually converted by random access. And I found it's 1993. So here we go. And UI robot, there's a red robot who's a lady and a blue robot who's a man. And you can tell that from her hair. So as you can see, they're trying to emulate the arcade by putting the game in a letterbox. Which kind of works, although it leaves you wondering why there's a massive gap at the top and bottom. They couldn't have put some kind of artwork in. You have 2 big knives and you have the ninja star things, which I can never pronounce, that you can throw, but those things are in very short supply. The first thing it reminds me of is Green Beret. Actually, all this running along and knifing people. And we're on the ST. So animation's already taken a hit, as has the sound. Incidentally, I'm told there should be music on the Amiga version when I was playing it, but I haven't got any, so that's that really. They've cut back on the animation on the ST. It still moves nicely. It's just as you'd expect in the muted colours. Still samples. And again, perhaps the ST has music, but I don't have any. Onto the 64. And these sales curve games always seem to credit all of the programmers and all the versions. So here we go. And everything's a little bit blockier, but moving, or certainly moving nicer than the ST. And you have the music from the arcade version, which again I'm sure should be there on the Amiga, but I don't have it. Lack of detail on the enemy spaces there. It's just they're just kind of black and that's it. Amstrad CPC. And all these versions warn you, export outside Europe and Australasia prohibited. Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's a hideous logo on the Amstrad. It's a horrible mess of colour. So off we go, and yes. I'm doing a lot of moonwalking. A lot of moonwalking. The enemies kind of dematerialise when you kill them, and this is the end of level 1. It's very slow on the CPC. And here comes a ninja lady with a big stick. Because, of course, the thing is, you are robots. Sinclair Spectrum, and if you have a standard 128K or a Grey Plus 2, this is what happens. It doesn't work.
The Ninja Warrior.
However, on my Black Plus 2, here we go, lovely speech. And this is the end of level 1 on my Plus 2A. And I've defeated the lady with the stick. Don't know if she's a robot, but we are playing as robots. It's confusing. Amiga version. And there's a lot of screaming going on. Don't turn your speakers up too loud, because your neighbours might get worried. It is slightly overcooked, however. It's like one of those PD games that have just a few samples they use over and over and over again. The animation's so nice. You can see I've turned back into a kind of Terminator-style robot as I walked away there. And, yep. Oh, dogs and things. I am now a robot, you can see. Got my trousers, though. And we have to kill dogs, and we know my feelings about that. What was it about this era when they decided, oh yeah, we'll just start putting dogs in games? It's really looking like Green Beret now. It's very reminiscent of that. ST version. And I am using a cheat on, well, all these versions. It's quite a tough game. There's lots of explosions going off. I'm trying to avoid them. And oh no, look, it's a tank. And there's a man up top. Now the trick here is to let him fire a bit and jump up when he emerges, because if you just hang around on the tank, he doesn't emerge, so you can't kill him. C64 version, and yes, you do get the tank. And I've got infinite ninja stars, so I can just throw those out with impunity. They are incredibly hard to get hold of in the game. You don't get many, and you can't really well control when you use them, when you don't use them. But no, I'm impressed here on the 64 to have a tank. 825, the 64 version got 825 in Ace. The Amiga version, 830. Amstrad. Oh, it's slow. It's slow, but at least it's not as ugly as eSWAT. But it's turgid. Spectrum version, which is glitching slightly, so sorry about that. Does have the tank. And on the Amiga, look at this animation on the tank. Look at that. Someone had to draw that. That's not 3D, that's all 2D, and someone's had to do all that. And that's that kind of 2D style of graphic I love, when someone's kind of had to turn it all into 3D. And that's the end of the level. Amiga format, 88%. CU Amiga, December 1989 edition, 92%. And on to level 3. And yeah, it's very, very samey. That Amstrad version, by the way, Amstrad Action gave it 60%. It's just so... Again, I can accept Green Beret as samey because it's a much earlier game. And this, well, is it? Because, yeah, it's a few years, isn't it? So there's just something about this, and there were people swooping down in kind of bat costumes. There's another one. It's that man in the flying suit. The 3-screen system from the arcade, by the way, onto the ST, was a reuse from Darius. And the thing that always struck me about the arcade version was the excellent animation and just the graphics and the look of it. Over to the Spectrum. And they helpfully put a little marker underneath your character so you can see where you are, so you don't blend into the background. It's another tank. The game likes reusing the tank. The tank comes up all the time. Your Sinclair gave it 70%. They said it was disappointing, horizontal scroller and rather samey. Onto the Amstrad. Why do the people dematerialise in such a messy way? It looks horrible. It just... Like the coders think, hey, this is a really cool effect. This looks rubbish. And look, there's a big man with a ball on a bit of string. I'm sure it's stronger than string. And yes, this Amstrad version, it's a little bit blocky. It's not hideous. Again, it's not like eSWAT. But it's just slow. Really. Yeah, I'm just kind of taking this for granted now because I've got infinite lives. So I can just go back here and just throw some ninja stars at him, which should defeat him in short order, hopefully. Or perhaps not. Thing is, I'm thinking 1989. And Dragon Ninja from Ocean comes out this year at the same time, doesn't it? And on the Amstrad, that game looks better. It sounds better. It's far faster. It's a really good port. And this isn't. It's not Dragon Ninja. It's got, on a static screenshot, you might look at it and go, oh, it looks like Dragon Ninja. But really, no. They've tried to put detail into these sprites, but they've scaled. I don't know why. It's this era of, well, we've drawn some assets on a PC and then we've converted them onto the Amstrad and they've scaled slightly wrongly. So they just look a little bit blockier than they need to. Specky. See, they do the dematerialization thing on the Spectrum, but frankly, you can't see it. I hadn't even noticed it until I just looked. I thought it just faded away, but no, they do dematerialize. But, oh, game over. Back on the Amiga, where enemies don't dematerialize, they actually fall and die. This level has birds, or bats, or something. They are really irritating and add nothing to the gameplay, and you just can't get away from them. Oh, and they appear behind enemy sprites as well, so you can't see them. And yes, it is the obligatory sewer level. Because nothing says arcade fun than traipsing around in turds. There might be a parallel with some of the ports of this game with that. I don't know why. Sometimes the sound appears to die on the Amiga. And we are really knee-deep in turds on the 64. So if you want a computer that can do brown, this is it. Oh, those birds! I don't like this humpback guy either who appears. He's really irritating to get rid of. This is the final level where you get a little metal Mickey thing going around and you have to meet various baddies before you get to the end of game baddie. Oh, I don't like these jumpy humpback things. Yes, it's going to count down all that energy and give me a bonus because I'm cheating. On the arcade machine, this is much more of an end-of-game battle. On the Amiga, you just get one screen after another with baddies. Or so I've seen. I obviously haven't played through the arcade all the way. But from the bits I could see, or when I looked on YouTube on a playthrough, it looked a lot busier on the end level. Right, and another baddie on the Amiga. There's Metal Mickey, and it's the baddie that dematerializes and appears elsewhere, but easily dispensed with, especially when you've got infinite energy. So after several screens of meeting baddies from earlier in the game, you meet the end of game baddie, he runs away, you can't kill him, and then he starts firing at you. You creep towards him, and you still can't do anything about him, even from behind. He just keeps running away. What's going to happen? Oh no, I've got him trapped. But I can't kill him.
Please don't kill me.
End of the game on the Spectrum. There's many, many Metal Mickeys running around. I say Metal Mickey, they look more like robot vacuum cleaners. Why has nobody done a Metal Mickey robot vacuum cleaner? I'd buy one of those. Boogie, boogie, boogie. There he is. He appears to be firing from behind himself. Don't know if that's another glitch. If I killed him. A revolution broke out and everything came to an end. The troubled country seemed to be finished by the death of the wicked machines. But peace did not come because the Ninja Warriors are the immortal murder machines. Right, okay. C64. Same deal. We're in the palace and we have to defeat the various baddies we met in the game before the bald guy at the end. There he is. Let's kick him up the bum. There we go. That'll do it. Oh, we get an end-game sequence on the C64 with robots, White House collapsing, and all the same guff we got on the Spectrum. And the game has two-player co-op available on all of these versions, right through from the Spectrum to the Amiga. And actually, as anyone knows, that adds so much to the game. Because you're playing with a mate, you've got twice the firepower. There's not suddenly twice the amount of enemies. And actually, it makes the game far more manageable and a lot more fun. But you find that on so many of these arcade games that have co-op, what is a fairly bland experience can become far more fun with 2 players playing together. Ninja Warriors. Well, strip away those amazing 3 monitors from the arcade, and what do you get? Well, as I mentioned, something akin to Green Beret. You just keep walking along, stabbing and shooting at people. There's no exciting weapons power-ups like the flamethrower in Green Beret or other games, and it just feels, without all that arcade sparkle, just a little bit mundane. The Amiga version at least captures the graphics and the animation of the arcade, but I do question why everything's playing in such a letterbox window. I know they're trying to emulate the 3 monitors of the arcade, but why not put in some artwork top and bottom? It's not like a machine where you're trying to save video memory or something. ST, usual story, cut down colours and animation, plays the same as the Amiga and therefore has the same faults. C64 jumps out at me because it can use the hardware to get that scrolling. It's not trying too hard. It still has that letterbox gameplay area, but the weird thing is, actually on the 64 and the other 8-bits as well, you don't notice it as much, because that's a fairly standard technique to save video RAM. Spectrum and Amstrad versions have a feeling of, well, not enough effort's been put in. It looks like converted graphics, so you get that blockiness on the Amstrad, and it's so slow. And some people may say, well, you know, the Spectrum and Amstrad don't have the hardware scrolling and so on that 64 has. And I'll say, yes, but Dragon Ninja is doing this at the same time and far better. And that has the big lorries and things going on. No, this could be better. Your Sinclair had this down to a T when they called the game samey. And on all these versions, it's samey. That's a fault of the arcade machine. If you want to play Ninja Warriors, I suggest the Amiga version. I believe there's some console versions as well, which I'm obviously not going to look at here. But really, for late 89, early 90, this is a very generic game, no matter how fond some people are of the arcade.